one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. Just gotta mean something to you. They gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
I could drop a million songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why y'all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our block, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Well, Dak, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff. I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Saint, part 2 of our breakdown for these Sundays, week 4's games. But first, before I start, I want to start off with, makes no sense. Before we start off with football tonight, we got to start off by shouting out Aaron Judge, 62 home runs, the AL leader in home runs all time now. Shout out to him. Big dog energy. Big. The Yankees are dumb. They're going to have to pay that man a lot of money. Imagine if this motherfucker don't even end up with the Yankees at the end of it all. Like, imagine he end up somewhere else. That'd be sick. I couldn't even see him in another uniform right now. Like, I can only picture Aaron Judge and the Yankees. And with the Yankees being the type of organization that they are, you would not think that they would allow him to leave. Like, to me, this would be like the Lakers letting Kobe leave, letting Magic or Kareem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't let this type of player leave. You know what I'm saying? The Celtics didn't let Bill leave. The Warriors ain't letting Steph leave. I think this is the type of player you got to keep. Now, to me, baseball is a little bit different where it's not really a player who can push a championship. Like, you got to have a lot of players that put you in contention. One player ain't putting you in championship contention. That's just not the way it works in baseball most times. But, like, I remember listening to Aaron Rodgers say, great pitcher can... Bro, just because you got a great... I remember the Phillies team that had aces all through the starting lineup. We did not make the World Series, bro. Like, great pitching do not secure you a World Series title. It's just plain and simple. The Dodgers had a great team last year. Did not make the World Series. Once again, great team. The Giants, with the season they had last year, did not make the World Series. So, great pitching does not equate to a World Series. I wouldn't say the Astros had the greatest of pitching. They got some pieces throughout the lineup, yeah, but I wouldn't say the Astros got the greatest pitching rotation I've ever seen win a World Series. They got a phenomenal hitting rotation, though. The Braves have a nice... They won the championship, the World Series last year. They do have some pieces in that bullpen or in the starting rotation. I'm not going to lie. They got Charlie Morton had that crazy game last year. You got Spencer Strider, who probably going to make play. Spencer Strider is a 3-pitch pitcher, and he destroying people like that. I did not realize he was only working with 3 pitches. That's crazy. I guess he worked with a 4th one, but he don't throw it enough to where it's considered his 4th pitch yet. That's wild that he can just work off a 3 pitch. He basically a reliever. He got a reliever mix, but it's crazy. But it's another dude who I'm forgetting. I know they got Ian on. Who is the last dude that I'm forgetting? Max Fried. Max Fried, the lefty. I love his throwing motion. Stud. But the great pitching don't necessarily, and I wouldn't even say that if you looked at the Braves lineup last year that people would say that's the greatest pitching rotation I've ever seen. They had hitters all the way around, though. I mean, you got to have a great rotation when you don't have to have Ronald Acuna Jr. on the field. And I know some people who don't watch baseball like, who the fuck is Ronald Acuna Jr.? Young stud. He didn't have the greatest of years this year, but still a young stud. 2 of the studs in the MLB, the young studs, didn't play this year. Fernando Tatis and Acuna played. He just didn't play that great this year. But they got another stud over there, Michael Harrison. I'm not a Braves fan, but I like what they do. I don't like that they don't really pay nobody. people accepting it. Like, look at what Acuna and Ozzy Albies is getting paid. How? With another team, you know they would be making way more. But, that's neither here nor there. Congratulations to Aaron Judge in October baseball. I don't know how much I'll be paying attention to it, but the Phillies have made the playoffs, so I'm definitely going to be watching the Phillies now that drought is over. Hoping that Bryce Harper, I hope we can just strike magic, bro. I hope Zach Wheeler give up no runs throughout the entire playoffs. Aaron Nola and Zach give up no runs combined throughout the playoffs. I hope our bullpen just dominate. I hope our hitting rotation do what we thought they was going to do all season and just go nuclear. It could happen. It could happen. But we're here to talk about football. And so, listen, I know the first part of this little series was a little bit incoherent. Didn't really talk too much about teams, but I promise you that is different tonight. We have a schedule. We have a schedule. We got a planned thing. And I want to start off talking about the big dog, Jalen Hurts. So it's so great. Yo, I have to cop that hoodie that Jalen Hurts had on the Manning podcast or on the Manning cast. The God bless the anybody who hating on me. Like, that's a fire ass hoodie. And I looked it up. It ain't even that expensive, so might have to make that purchase. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yo, the last undefeated team in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles, I felt like I had to specifically give them a segment in the show today, specifically because I made a slide about them, but also because it's the last undefeated team in the NFL. They have to be talked about. And they just won a game in Philadelphia against the former head coach that coached there, Doug Peterson, who brought in, and it was a comeback win also. I like Philly. I think Philly looked like the best team in the NFC right now. However, I do have reservations on Philly, and not because of anything with Philly. It's that Dallas defense, man. That Dallas defense is something else, and I'm not trying to use this segment to talk about Philly and then turn it into a Dallas segment, but as much as I love what I'm seeing from Philly, that Dallas defense feel like a defense that could bring Philly back down to earth. So I really want to see how Philly play against Dallas. But just going off of what Philly has done right now, I love that they came back. And I'm not one of them people who need to see a team that played great come back and win a game to prove that they can win some type of way. If you're a team that dominate people, I don't care if you don't have to go down 20-something points and come back. That doesn't bother me. But they did do it in this game, so shout out to them. They just remained consistent and did what they do. I think A.J. Brown, and I say this all the time, but going out and getting A.J. Brown basically a safety net for Jalen Hurts. It just means everything because, for one, people have to defend him. You cannot just go out there and allow A.J. Brown single coverage throughout the majority of the game. Devontae Smith becoming a receiver that you can't have just single coverage throughout the entirety of the game. And the more Jalen Hurts progresses as a quarterback, this offense going to look scarier and scarier. Can you just wait till Jalen Hurts get to where Lamar is at right now, where running is the second option. Like, they take sacks at times because they choose not to run anymore like they used to, but they still had that in their back pocket. When Jalen Hurts can just sit in the pocket and dissect teams, and I'm not saying that I want Jalen Hurts to just be able to do that, because I told you, people complain and bitched about Jalen Hurts, not this, not that, because he don't. But all I cared about was if they can put in if I saw Lamar Jackson his first season, I saw he wasn't ready to be an NFL thrower of the football, but that didn't mean he couldn't win. And I saw how they was using him and how they was getting production out of him. And I thought to myself, if Philadelphia can do that, if they can buy into Jalen Hurts and decide to build around Jalen Hurts, I don't care if he can't do what I want him to do great yet. What does he do great? And if he can do something great, then we can work with that. One of the problems with Baker Mayfield is he don't do nothing great. He don't even do nothing good. But the fact that Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, all these different type of players who do something great, the fact that they can use that till they develop in other areas, that's big. And you can win with that. So the Eagles deciding Jalen Hurts run the ball real great right now, so let's build around that. But in the next offseason, you go out and you get him more weapons. You go out and re-up the line in the run game and the defense and all those other type of areas. They go out and get Bradbury for the defensive side of the ball. Like, to me, the Eagles, I for one think Howie, I think it's Howie Roseman. the GM for the Eagles, he do a great job at bringing talent over. Like the Eagles, I don't think we talk about it enough, but they much like the Rams, and when they feel like they have a team that can compete, they bring talent over and put it all throughout the team. Like the Super Bowl win they had that year. I know a lot of people give credit to Nick Foles, but that was a talented football team. It was a lot of talent on both sides of the ball that year. So I think with the way Philadelphia look right now, because there's a lot of talent on that team right now, Jalen Hurts, continuing to develop, and that's why I like Nick Sirianni. This is why I was kind of on the Nick Sirianni train early, because it felt like he was already making the decision to pivot and buy into Jalen Hurts, to do whatever it took to get Jalen Hurts to where he needed to be. And because it's like I said, when you have a head coach that can buys into you, that is invested in making this team better because of you, like John Harbaugh was for Lamar, that means something. It's easier to grow. You know you had the confidence of your coach around you. And Jalen Hurts, I don't know why he don't wear the C on his chest. I'm actually interested in that. But clearly he is a dude that the team rally behind. And so I love Jalen Hurts. I done loved him since he was at Alabama. And it's like I said before, to see what he was at Alabama, it clearly showed me, and I don't necessarily blame Bama, but I blame Bama because clearly they wasn't teaching him how to be a better quarterback, because their philosophy at the time was a run type of philosophy. And it's so, I find it so very irritating when I see so many of these analysts get on TV and they tell you what Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts can't do, what they'll never be able to do, just because they didn't see those dudes, because they don't think that those dudes could be put into a system or grow as quarterbacks to become as great as some of these other quarterbacks are. But they tell you that Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold is supposed to be hits as far as prospects, and Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be a hit. But they don't give dudes like Lamar and Jalen Hurts a chance. But you see how they've been fighting against these narratives and what they can and can't do for so long. And look at the work ethic that they have. Look at the work they put in. Look at how they improve on something every single year. That's why I believe the Eagles are going to win that division. It ain't going to be easy because the Dallas Cowboys defense is legit. However, I always say this. At the end of the day, the best quarterback will still make the plays necessary to win a game, even when it's in a close, tough game. And this ain't no Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen type situation where those three quarterbacks, while I think Pat is better than both of them, I'm not surprised when either of these three quarterbacks beat each other, make the play to beat the other quarterback. In this situation, I think Jalen Hurts is better than every quarterback in his division. So I'm going to ultimately take Jalen Hurts anytime he's competing against the teams in his division, because I think at the end of the day, he is the better quarterback of all those guys, and he will make the play. And I know people like to say, oh, well, he's not really a quarterback as much as he is a playmaker. If my quarterback can also be a playmaker, that's a plus. I don't know why people like to add things that these black quarterbacks can do and use them as negatives. So where the Eagles, obviously I don't think the Eagles will go undefeated the rest of the season, but I really do love what the Eagles are doing. I don't think the Giants are as good a team as they have shown. I don't even think they've shown that they're really a great team. They just have a good record right now. They're 3-1, but I don't think the Giants are as good as the Eagles. I also don't think the Giants are as good as the Cowboys, because the Cowboys have a far better, I think the Cowboys got the best defense in the division. And while I do like the Eagles defense, especially seeing as how every time the Eagles seem to be great, they can just change dudes out on that defensive line. The Cowboys have playmakers, though, on the defensive side of the ball. And that's what I want to talk about next. So shout out to Philly. They got another great. Oh, before I leave the Philadelphia topic, I said this in my previous show, but I do want to say this one more time. Trevor Lawrence got to cut down on the interceptions, man. The turnovers, period. Not even just the interception, like the turnovers. Like Trevor Lawrence done turned the ball over a lot in his first 2 years, and he ain't even all the way through his second year yet. So I do think Trevor Lawrence will look great. Could you imagine what Trevor Lawrence would look like with Bruce Arians? Motherfucker probably had about 10, 15 picks already. But I want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys now. Where is my did I have them written? I didn't. But I do want to make a quick pitch, because I talked about him in the last episode, but I didn't really give him a lot of credit. And real quick. listen, I said that I didn't think the 49ers defense was as great as it's been in the past. I didn't say that by saying that they weren't great now. I think they are great now. I just don't think they were what they were in the past, even though I do think this is one of the best defenses in football. I just wanted to get that understood. I didn't want people thinking that I thought that the 49ers had a bad defense. But the Cowboys defense. So you got this Cooper Rush situation and Dak Prescott situation. This is an interesting situation because what Cooper Rush has done as the starter so far is manage the game and whatnot. He don't make the mistake. But I also don't think he done really had to play in a game yet. Like, I understand what people think the Bengals are going to be and whatnot, and we'll see, because they could end up beating the Ravens on Sunday, and that'll completely change the narrative on the Bengals. But for right now, I don't know how great the Bengals are going to be this year. But I do know what they were last year. So if we just judging it based off of that, sure, he did beat the Bengals. However, I think the Cowboys defense, like the quarterback battle between Dak and Cooper Rush, to me, it really don't matter that much because I don't think Dak is really. I think Dak's better than Cooper, but I don't know if he's that much better than Cooper Rush just based off of what I done seen from Cooper so far. So while I don't think Cooper Rush is the better quarterback, I don't think that Dak is light years, because I don't look at Dak as a dude who can win a Super Bowl for a team. Like, he need a lot of things to go right around him for him to be one of your catalysts for winning the Super Bowl. But when you have a defense like Dallas has right now, where you have somebody on basically every single level, and knock on wood, I hope all these dudes can stay healthy, this changes things. I think Dallas got 2 all-pro players on their defense right now. And shout out D-Law. He is a stud. But it's 2 dudes on this defense right now who I think are top 3 at their positions, even top 5 at the worst. And that is Trevon Diggs and Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons won't even probably have the production that he had last year because people will start to defend him differently now, which is why they move him around a lot. But I actually don't think moving him around as much as they do is as beneficial for him as it is for everybody else around him. And I do understand that, you know, you want to get the most out of everybody else. He kind of like that spark plug for everybody else, but you still don't want that to sacrifice his numbers that he could be putting up, because that's going to cost him money in the long run if he's sacrificing his numbers just to make everybody else around him great. Because when you talking about your contract, they're not going to bring up that he make everybody else better. They're just going to bring up his numbers. And so I do hope that he can start hitting, you know, his numbers that that I know Micah Parsons would be hitting if they had him playing one position, like just rushing off of one side most of the time. But he is a top-notch player, and he is a difference maker on the defense. And when you have a playmaker like Micah Parsons, who obviously make their life easier for Lawrence and all these other guys, that means something, because the Giants have had defenses like that before. And then Trevon Diggs, bro, I talk about him nearly every episode because I don't understand why people think it's cool to hate on this man for some reason. Trevon Diggs is a top 3 cornerback in the NFL to me right now. And I don't even think it's close. At the worst, he is a top 5 cornerback. For one, I don't know if it's a cornerback in the NFL right now who got the ball skills that Trevon Diggs have. The dude catch everything. I don't know if it's a dude in the NFL because people talk about how he give up so many yards and whatnot. For one, I done already talked about how this notion that he giving up 100 and 200 and crazy yards, that's just a fucking lie. That is just not true. I done watched every single game Dallas done played this year. Trevon Diggs done look great in every single one of these games. Take him off of the field, and that is a completely different secondary. You have a player in Trevon Diggs. And I hate it when people think that, oh, this dude got to be perfect, or, you know, he's just not a good. I really just think it is. I don't know if it's the Dallas Cowboy hate people have. I didn't even know that was a actual thing. I thought only that existed in the media with Stephen A. Smith. But I guess that's a real thing. Either way, it's got to be that syndrome, that hating syndrome of you see a player do great and then you immediately start hating on him. Because that's the only thing I can think of. Because Trevon Diggs is a cornerback that every single fucking team in the NFL would want on their team. He takes the ball away from the other team. You cannot teach the type of ball skills that Trevon Diggs has. Either you have it or you don't. You can get as good as you want to at refining your skills and getting better. But when you just are blessed with that type of ball skills that Trevon Diggs have, you already ahead of the curve. Because everything else that he work on to sharpen up his game, it's just going to make it even worse for the opponent. Could you imagine if Trevon Diggs was out there actually on an island on a weekly basis running route for route with people? That'd be a nightmare. The dude going to end up with double-digit picks for the next couple years if that was the case. So I don't understand the purpose of hating on this man. This is a young cornerback who clearly is a top cornerback in the league. His numbers say he a top cornerback in the league. The eye test say he a top cornerback in the league. His production as far as taking the ball away from the other team says he's a top cornerback in this league. I don't understand the hate that Trevon Diggs gets. Because I done said it before. He and his brother, the Diggs brothers, them motherfuckers is different. I don't know what's in the water that they was growing up drinking, but them two motherfuckers is different. And we already know that Stefon Diggs is him. He got the clip out there. I'm him. Trevon Diggs is him. And it's so crazy because I don't even see Trevon Diggs talk crazy to people. I don't never see him just talking trash to people. I saw the clip of Jamar Chase basically saying he didn't think Trevon Diggs was like the most technically sound or disciplined corners. And I'm like, yo, what videos, what highlight tapes is y'all watching of this dude? Like, y'all is specifically pointing out some of his worst moments that every cornerback have and trying to use that as an excuse to say he sucks when he is you don't luck into that many interceptions that Trevon Diggs had last year. You just don't. I don't care how many great players you play around. You don't just luck into that type of production. So it's just weird to me. And I'm glad that I'm not just weird, that I'm not weird by saying some of the stuff I say as far as like, I just don't like it when players just feel like openly disrespecting other players because they should know how hard it is to be in the NFL. And I saw a player this week say, like, yo, it's a certain code we have where we don't talk crazy about other players. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad he said that because I thought that. Like, when I grew up playing sports, you might talk shit to the dudes in your neighborhood, but on the court, you're not really talking shit to the other dudes, especially in football. Football is a sport, and baseball to an extent, even though I know baseball the hardest sport. I haven't played baseball. I tried baseball. I didn't play it long, so I really don't know how a locker room in baseball go. But in football, you know how hard it is to play these positions and the guard dudes. So that's why I don't like Baker Mayfield, bro, when he was talking crazy about Lamar. Talking about some we knew if we made him throw. Motherfucker, you know how hard it is to be a quarterback in the NFL, and you're going to park your mouth you're going to open your mouth to talk crazy about Lamar, and that's exactly why midfield is exactly where he is at now. This dude's a garbage can. But either way, shout out to Trevon Diggs and Micah Parsons and that Dallas defense. This is going to be a very interesting division because obviously Washington Commanders is trash. I think the Giants is going to end up tailing off eventually because they just don't have a good quarterback. It just is what it is. The Giants do not have a quarterback, and when you do not have a good quarterback, you have a ceiling. It just is what it is. That's why Dallas can't get as far as they want to go. As great as the defense is, they might have a ceiling because I don't trust Cooper Rush or Dak Prescott. I trust Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts. I like the head coach and Nick Sirianni. I like what the defense is doing. While I don't like their defense as much as I like the Dallas defense, I like the Eagles team as a whole more than I like the Dallas team. So with that, I think Dallas is going to end up finishing second in that division. And I hope Dallas can, I would love to see Trevon Diggs make a run for Defensive Player of the Year. I really would like to see that. They hate that, Trey. I want to talk about the Rams next, though. And then I'm going to end it with the Panthers. The Rams Monday Night Football game, so it's very interesting. Obviously, they need Odell Beckham. It's very clear that they need another receiver. The Allen Robinson thing ain't working out. I don't even know if you would be able to trade him at this point because he had a rough couple years in Chicago, and then you follow that up with the rough start he done had here. It'll just be very hard to see a team trying to trade for that contract. Right now, the Rams are in a tough spot, though, because that defense is still a great defense. But you won't know how great the defense is because the offense can't score fucking points. And when the offense cannot score, They only put up 9 points last night. When the offense can't score, when they can't find a way to get off the field, to stay on the field and keep drives alive, and you got Matt Stafford throwing picks left and right, fumbling the ball, the run game is dead. This is going to affect other areas in the team. And I continue to preach about how Sean McVay got to go out and get a running back. Don't really know why he haven't tried to trade for one of those running backs in Green Bay. But I just think if you allow Matt Stafford to go out there and continue the way this offense is going, no run game, the Rams are going to miss the playoffs because Matt Stafford will throw you out of the playoffs. Like, people kept trying to make it seem like he was Detroit sucked, but it wasn't because of Matthew Stafford. Like, he played no part of Detroit not being a great team. And he did. And you are seeing some of the flaws that Matt Stafford had when he was in Detroit. I hear a lot of people talk about, oh, man, the only dude he threw it to is Cooper Kupp. Yeah, the only motherfucker he threw it to in Detroit was Calvin Johnson. And so when he had no Calvin Johnson, it got real ugly because him throwing it, usually you want your quarterback to, throw it around, spread it to different people. You know what I'm saying? Not Matthew Stafford, bro. Because I don't know what it is with this motherfucker, bro. But it's like when he throw it to anybody that's not the dude he want to throw it to, he might underthrow it, overthrow it, throw a little crazy. You just never know with Matthew Stafford, bro. And that's why it was so funny to me listening to Dan, and I like Dan Orlovsky, but to hear him lead this charge for Matthew Stafford, I remember when him and Richard Sherman was getting into it. It was just so funny to me because I'm like, this is clearly Dan being biased because he likes Stafford as his friend. Plus, it's just a biasness because, like, he played with him. But Matthew Stafford ain't no Hall of Famer. And Matthew Stafford going to have to figure this shit out because at the end of the day, you still have a great defense. Like, that was getting lost in this Rams thing right now is that the Rams defense is fine. The defense ain't the problem. San Francisco can go out there and do that shit to anybody. The problem is when they go out there and do that shit and your offense can't respond because the defense got stops. The defense played good enough. They played well. Matter of fact, where did that score at? For some reason, they didn't write it down. Don't matter. While they did get waxed, a great part of getting waxed is when you just cannot, like, every time the 49ers made a big play, you know what the Rams offense did? Went 3 and out. And when you consistently do that, it's tough to win a game, and it's tough on your defense also. So I'm not too worried about the Rams defense. I'm not worried about the Rams defense at all. I know we want to talk about Bobby Wagner making one of the greatest tackles in NFL history when he tackled the bozo fan that ran onto the. It's so funny when I was listening to Pat McAfee when he talked about how some of the fans was tweeting at him that Bobby Wagner's not a hero. I hate people like that. Pat called Bobby Wagner a hero. Some jackass, Bobby Wagner not a hero. He didn't serve his country. Bro, suck a dick, bro. Go sit down somewhere, bro. I swear I hate people like that, man. I always got to jump in and do that extra shit, bro. Like, people can't let. It's just like those people who get on you in your comments on Twitter and be like, oh, you didn't spell that correct, or you didn't. That's not. You could have put a period or could have used a comma. Like, bro, go suck a dick, bro. You fuck out my mentions. This shit's crazy. But either way, the Rams they praying that OBJ get healthy in time to help this offense because I do. But I said it last year that he throw it to Cooper Kupp too much. Like, people thought I was wilding when I said Cooper Kupp is not as great a receiver as some of these other dudes, as great as I think he is. One of the reasons he is as great as he is because he got a quarterback that's willing to throw him the ball damn near 20 times a fucking game and just completely ignore everybody else. It could be dudes. And that's why I really don't like certain times when people talk about Matthew Stafford and the dudes around him, because they'll give a lot of blame to dudes at Matthew Stafford when in actuality, if you look at how this game been going, this ain't their fault. This is Stafford's fault. He never targeted them on routes where they had the clean routes, where they was open and they had the man beat. But then when it's pressure situations, he targeted them on ridiculous routes, and now it's their fault because they hadn't been getting targeted all game. Now they drop. Oh, but they paid to catch the ball. I mean, yeah, we are paid to catch the ball. But just like somebody who want to consistently be doing something to keep fresh, I mean, to make sure he stay warm, a receiver would like to get targeted throughout a game and not just be asked, oh, well, now the game means something. So, I'm going to throw you this ball so you need to catch it because you get paid to catch. Like, come on, bro, that's ridiculous. Like, I get it, but come on, it's ridiculous. And so with all the problems that people have right now with the Rams, like I said, I just think they can't block no fucking body right now. I mean, you letting the 49ers defense running simple stunts and shit like that and getting wide open on the offensive line. Just dudes ripping right through. Like, it's ridiculous. I do want to say real fast, because it just popped up in my head. This dude, Skip Bayless, is like one of the worst human beings ever. Nobody is debating Aaron Donald being the greatest, like one of the greatest defensive players of all time, except for Skip Bayless. Like, this dude is such a fucking hater for no reason. It's like he just hates players who are great for no reason. I really don't understand it. But either way, the San Francisco defense is a great defense. DeMeco Ryans. So you know how I say I wouldn't hire off a defensive-minded head coach right now in today's NFL. That's why I think some of these teams can have such great defenses for so long, like the Bills. You got the Buffalo Bills that had a great defense for a while now because they done had Leslie Frazier over there for a little bit. They calling Leslie the Lamar stopper. They done had what's my other dude? If Leslie Frazier is the Lamar stopper, because he is 2-1 against Lamar. So if we want to call it, and I think his defense done picked Lamar off like 3 or 4 times. If we calling him the Leslie Frazier the Lamar stopper, then I got the right to call Dean Pease and the Ravens the Josh Allen stopper, because Josh Allen ain't put up no great numbers against Baltimore yet. I just want to point that out. In his 3 games against Baltimore, he done won 2 and won 1 and lost 1. But he ain't been Josh Allen in those games, just like Lamar hadn't been Lamar except for in that first time they played. So I just want to point that out. If we're going to do that for Leslie, then I'm doing that for the Ravens, Dean Pease, and the organization, because I ain't giving this dude who we got right now no credit. But Leslie Frazier done been with the Bills for a while. You got DeMeco Ryans. I think he done been with the San Fran for about 2 or 3 years now. A lot of defensive. You got Raheem Morris, who is over there with the Rams. That's why they done defense done been good for so long. A lot of teams have the same DC for. I mean, look at Spagnuolo for the Chiefs. That's not a great defense on a year-to-year basis, but they make great plays when you need them the most throughout his tenure there. So most of the defenses that's good done had the same coordinator for a while now. Even Dallas done had the same defensive coordinator the last 2 years or 3 years. So it's easy to retain a defensive coordinator in today's NFL because everybody trying to hire the next offensive guru. However, with that being said, I do think that DeMeco Ryans should eventually get a shot at becoming a head coach. I also think Leslie Frazier should get another shot at becoming a head coach. Leslie Frazier specifically, because I want to get his ass out of the AFC. I'm tired of having to play him when we play, because he actually is the Lamar stopper. I'm not gonna lie. He do a damn good job at his when he defend Lamar. But I don't know if it's him, his game plan, and as much as he got a lot of dudes who step up in those games. Like I think one time when we played against him, his defense made a difference. He ran a nickel deep. Was that even him? I don't think Leslie Frazier's defense don't really matter too much against Lamar at all, actually. The first time we played him, it was a great defense, but Lamar still beat them that year and made great passes and runs to win that game. The second time we played him, Lamar wasn't the problem. Everybody running around dropping passes left and right was the problem. I don't think it was Lamar. This game, I think his defense was great too, but Matt Milano and Trace Edmonds had phenomenal fucking games. And like I said, whoever Jordan Poyer prayed to really was on his side that game. So I like Leslie. I think Leslie is phenomenal. But because I looked at all the games, like if as good as Leslie's defense is, and I think it'd do a better job against Lamar than most defenses. But the San Fran defense did a pretty good job against Lamar also in that time we played them in his MVP season. With that being said, because I'm getting so far off the topic right now. I do think DeMeco Ryans should eventually get a head coaching opportunity, like Leslie Frazier. I just wish they was in a situation where they could be, like a Todd Bowles, but that just ain't gonna happen because everybody ain't Bruce Arians. But the last thing we're gonna touch on before we get on up out of here, and you know what? I don't even know if this is actually the last thing. Is this the last thing I'm gonna talk about? Yeah, it probably is. Let's talk about the Panthers Curse, bro. I told you. The way you do Cam Newton, the way they did Cam Newton is exactly why these things are happening right now. But aside from that, this Baker Mayfield situation, this Baker Midfield situation. Did you know that the Carolina Panthers was 1-26 when another team scored 17 points against them under Matt Rule? Bruh, 17 points. I saw Nick Wright say this, and he right. 17 points would be considered like one of the worst scoring offenses in the NFL. But it's somehow, if you score 17 points against the Panthers under Matt Rule, you will win. So what you were essentially saying is the Panthers need to shut the other team out, basically, or they're not going to win. And that's just absolutely in-fucking sane to me. And, you hire Matt Rule because you say he's some great offensive mind. Panthers offense ain't been making no waves over the last couple years since he done got there. You fire a great head coach in Ron Rivera. And listen, I know how I talk about Ron Rivera. I know I'm not the highest, I'm not the biggest Ron Rivera guy. I get all that. But nonetheless, you fire Ron Rivera, who is I just don't like how the Panthers have handled a lot of things in this organization, but just specifically sticking to the current state of the franchise. I really couldn't tell you what the fuck this team is going to end up doing, because Baker's not the answer. Sam's not the answer. They have a good defense. They have players are on that defense. The defense gave Baker yet another touchdown this week. Like, the Panthers defense is getting it going. The Panthers always have a good defense, it seemed like recently. That's why I was so confusing I understand going out and getting an offensive minded head coach. Going out and getting a college head coach is what I don't understand. And obviously, if you listen to me, I don't have much respect for college football. But going out and getting Matt Rule to me was insane. It's just like I think the Cardinals going out getting Cliff was wild. They didn't even go out and get two highly successful dudes who was coming off like huge years or nothing like that. And so that was weird to me, especially when there's other dudes. Like, you see how hard it is for Raheem Mostert, Leslie Frazier, and D'Amico Ryans and some of these other Eric Bieniemy. They giving these motherfuckers jobs over dudes like Eric Bieniemy. Like, that's crazy to me. The Panthers deserve to fail. Why is Eric Bieniemy not the head coach of that team? Like, to me, and then, one of my other problems, is just sticking with the head coach thing real fast. How the fuck I cannot understand for the fucking life of me, how people continue to say Josh McDaniels is some type of fucking offensive guru. Did we not see the offense he was running over there with Tom Brady? And I already give Tom Brady a shit ton of credit. So why is it that people give him credit for Tom Brady, but don't give Eric Bieniemy the credit for Patrick Mahomes? Or why is it he can still get a job after having Tom Brady and Bieniemy can't have a job even though because he coaching Pat Mahomes? How does that make any fucking sense? I really don't get it. Because Josh McDaniels done failed before. Eric Bieniemy ain't had the opportunity to fail. And this is another thing that really pisses me off. If we giving him credit, and the Patriots offense was never a top offense under him, as far as I can remember recently, in the recent years. And I ain't talking about them years that they had Randy Moss and shit like that. But you look at a dude like Leslie Frazier, who done had a phenomenal defense since being in Buffalo. And he was once a coach also. And he can't get a second opportunity. This shit really just don't make sense to me. It don't make sense to me at all. I don't fucking understand it. But the Carolina Panthers have so many head coaches out there, because I believe that Matt Rule will be fired at the end of the season. I think they're going to end up letting Matt Rule go, Sam Darnold go, and Baker Mayfield go. And at the end of the season, they will have a plethora of phenomenal head coaches to choose from. And I truly believe they will make the worst pick of the coaches. They are not going to bring over a great head coach. To me, I'm almost certain Carolina will hire the probably worst option you can probably hire. They'll probably look at Miami, bringing in Mike Daniels and starting off the season the way he did, and be like, you know what, we got to make that type of hire. So, do I expect Eric Bieniemy to get that Carolina job next year? Nope. Do I expect Nope. I expect some white dude that's a no name that we never heard of to possibly get that job, just like the dude who got it with the Vikings. It's it just is what it is. Carolina is not going to make great business decisions. They're not going to make great decisions for the team. It really feel like this team could turn into a poverty-stricken type of franchise over the next couple years if this franchise don't figure out, if the owner and the GMs don't fit. And they got to let the GM go too. It's so funny to see. It's not even funny necessarily as much as it's crazy seeing how Carolina done fell over the last couple years. And like I said, it all started when they decided to do Cam dirty. Like, why the fuck would you do your franchise quarterback dirty like that, bro? I never understood it. Still don't understand it to this day. But with that, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking with Saints. Share, subscribe, like. Hey, bro, help me grow up. Hey, listen, I'm broke, my boy. I'm broke. And you got the power to change that. You heard? Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Give my Dukes a kiss on the cheek for me, man. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.